Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Will to Heal podcast. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been with me through episodes 1 through 4, you know we've been digging into generational trauma, what it looks like, how it shows up in our lives, and why it keeps repeating until someone decides to break the cycle. In episode 4, we talked about how trauma rewires your brain. But today we're going even deeper because trauma doesn't just live in your thoughts. It lives in your body. You may not realize it, but your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. Trauma can show up in the way you hunch your shoulders when you're scared, the way your jaw clenches when you feel unseen, the way your lower back aches when you're carrying too much physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Your posture, your pain, your exhaustion. It's not just stress. It's not just getting older. Sometimes it's trauma that never got the chance to leave. Let's talk about how that happens. When your body is under chronic stress, your brain releases cortisol, which is the stress hormone. At first, this helps you survive. It gives you energy, alertness, and focus. But when cortisol stays elevated for long periods of time, it starts to wear your body down. Your muscles stay tight. Your sleep becomes harder, your digestion slows, your immune system weakens. Over time, you start to feel it in your shoulders, your stomach, your heart, your sleep, your energy. These are not random symptoms, they're signals. I'm going to give a disclaimer here. Everything I share on this podcast is based on my lived experience. I have documentation of the events I am going to discuss, and I share these stories not out of bitterness, but to help others feel less alone. This is about truth and healing, not blame. For those who don't know, I was on mental health disability for 12 years. 12. Not because I was weak, but because I had survived years of domestic violence and trauma. My body was in survival mode. My nervous system was shattered, and I was in pain every single day. My back hurt. My joints ached. I had migraines. I was completely exhausted all the time, and I gained a whole bunch of weight. Not because I didn't care about myself, but because I was just trying to stay alive. You see, when you've lived through trauma, especially over and over again, your nervous system learns how to survive, not how to rest. It holds tension like armor, and it stores pain like a memory. Once I started to actually heal, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, my body began to change. I came off of disability. I came off of almost all of my medications. I lost over 100 pounds. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. I could move. I could feel my body trust me again. And that's when Will to Heal was born, because I know I'm not the only one. If you're listening and this is your body and your body is in pain, please hear me. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not making it up. Your body has been carrying so much for so long, and it remembers what you've been through, even if you don't have the words for it. But here's the good news. Just like your body learned how to survive, it can learn how to heal. There are some common physical symptoms of trauma. Muscle tension and pain, especially in the neck, back, and shoulders. gastrointestinal issues, IBS, heartburn, ulcers. You may have sleep disturbances like insomnia or nightmares. You may have fatigue, and this can be constant even if you've had rest. Weakened immune system. You have frequent illness or inflammation in the body. Cardiovascular strain. You can have increased blood pressure or develop heart issues. Chronic pain, lasting aches or inflammation that doesn't resolve. You may have dizziness or lightheadedness, a racing heart or palpitations, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing. You can have skin problems like rashes, hives, or eczema. You can be sensitive to light and sound. You can sweat or tremble. You may have paleness, lethargy, or poor concentration. And you may have changes in vital signs or temperature shifts. Now, what healing brings to the body is healing from trauma can lead to real physical relief. One of the ways is nervous system regulation. Your fight or flight response begins to calm down and you feel safer. Releasing stored energy. You can do this through body-based practices like yoga, somatic experiencing, or even deep breathing can help discharge the tension in your body. You may have improved sleep. Your body will rest and repair and restore. You'll have reduced symptoms in headaches and digestion, and your immune system will strengthen. You have increased body awareness. You begin to notice your body again, what it needs and what it feels. Resilience and regulation. Healing builds emotional endurance and helps you manage stress differently than you have in the past. Reconnection with your body. You begin to experience presence rather than disconnection or disassociation. You gain freedom from shame and hypervigilance by beginning to feel safe inside yourself. This is not just emotional healing, it's full body restoration. Sometimes healing looks like therapy. Sometimes it looks like resting without guilt. Sometimes it looks like body movement, breath work, getting massage, crying, laughing, stretching, shaking, or just releasing. And sometimes it's just being still long enough to ask yourself, what has my body been trying to tell me? You don't have to have all the answers today. You just have to start listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing healing, even when it's hard. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs it, and make sure you're following the podcast, because in our next episode, dropping June 5th, we're going to talk about how to begin the healing work, what it actually looks like to start. Until then, take a deep breath. You are worthy of healing.